speak of power as if it were a crown one inherits, as if it sits still on a table, waiting to be picked up by the most deserving. But power is not a prize. It is a shadow that moves when you do, a silence that deepens when others speak. The first lesson is this: to lead is not to be loved. It is to be feared wisely and respected reluctantly. The one who walks away first does not flee, he defines the field. The act of departure is not weakness, it is control. He who walks away first rewrites the ending before the others have understood the beginning. That is the architecture of influence, to vanish not in retreat, but in orchestration. People do not follow truth, they follow strength, masked as certainty. They do not hunger for justice, they hunger for stability, even when that stability is built on deceit. Do not resent this, exploit it. There is no high road in politics, only roads paved with perception. The one who commands the perception commands the state. Loyalty is never permanent. It is a transaction disguised as devotion. A soldier fights not for his prince, but for the safety his prince can guarantee, or the fear his prince can inspire. Never forget, men remember who protects them, but they obey who can destroy them. Betrayal is not an accident. It is a decision made in silence long before the blade is drawn. Most betrayals happen in the mind before they ever touch the flesh. The betrayal you fear is often the mirror of your own hesitation, so strike before loyalty decays. Leave before devotion curdles into entitlement. Control is not maintained through constant presence. It is maintained through strategic absence. A ruler who is always seen becomes ordinary. The one who appears only when necessary becomes myth. To dominate the stage, you must learn to exit it. Leave your enemies speaking to your echo. Leave your allies waiting for your return. Let your silence weigh more than their speeches. Ambition is a fire that burns without warmth. It consumes allies and enemies alike. The ambitious man must not ask if he is right, but only if he will succeed. Conscience must be worn like armor, invisible, yet impenetrable. Display it too openly, and you invite the arrows of the idealists who mistake their weakness for virtue. Politics is not about truth, it is about belief, and belief can be manufactured, traded, weaponized. A false narrative repeated with precision becomes a remembered truth. The people do not crave honesty. They crave coherence. They will tolerate a lie if it shelters them from chaos. Walk away first, not to escape, but to shape what comes after. He who walks away owns the silence that follows. That silence becomes legend, and legend outlives fact. The world remembers Caesar, not the senators. It remembers the throne, not the debate. Those who stay behind argue. Those who walk away define what is argued about. War is not always fought with weapons. It is often fought with timing. The withdrawal of attention is more lethal than the application of force. To deny your presence is to starve your opponent. To leave on your terms is to deny them the satisfaction of your defeat. Fear, properly placed, is more stable than love. Love is an emotion volatile, conditional, forgettable, but fear roots itself in the nerves. Fear is remembered, it lingers. It is reawakened by a whisper, a look, an absence. The modern ruler does not shout, he calibrates. He understands that today's battlefield is digital, emotional, psychological. The sword is no longer drawn, it is coded, it is broadcast. The new prince must master the screen, the silence, the sudden gesture. He must speak in symbols, not sentences. The leader must never be fully known. Familiarity is the enemy of reverence. Let them admire your mask more than your face. Let them follow the idea of you, not the details. Details can be dissected, but the silhouette, the myth, remains untouchable. Every alliance contains the seed of betrayal. Every favor is a future debt. Never grant what you are not prepared to recall, and never ask what you are not willing to pay for in blood or silence. Politics is the management of debts and the manipulation of memory. The art of survival is not in fighting every enemy, It is in choosing which betrayals to ignore and which to avenge. Mercy is not weakness when used rarely. It becomes another form of power. But be cautious. Mercy shown too often turns the ruler into a servant. There is no clean rule, no innocent throne. The desire to lead is already a confession. You want to control others, admit it, and having admitted it, make peace with the cost. Because leadership is a burden of calculation, not a reward for character. Human nature does not evolve. It adapts cosmetically. Beneath every reform is the same appetite, to dominate, to be remembered, to survive. The true ruler understands this and makes no apology. He shapes institutions not as monuments to principle, but as machinery to sustain power. Walk away first because retreat, when voluntary, becomes strategy. Let others cling to the theater of relevance while you master the script. Let them chase proximity while you curate absence. Distance creates intrigue, and intrigue breeds loyalty more efficiently than truth. What is loved can be replaced. What is feared becomes indispensable. Let them believe you are weak. Let them write you off. Let them prepare for your funeral, and then reappear not to explain, but to command. To rule is not to persuade, it is to outlast. To make yourself the axis around which the storm turns. Let others speak of fairness. You will write the consequences. Power is not held. It is enforced. It is fed by silence, by exits, by precision. The one who walks away first, he teaches the world to wait for his return. He leaves not to be missed, but to be necessary. And that, in the end, is the only story worth ruling. There are moments when a ruler must vanish, not out of fear, but calculation. Absence, when timed correctly, is not abdication. It is provocation. It forces the court, the people, the enemies to speak in your silence, and in their speculation you grow. You become more than present. You become necessary. The world cannot resist filling a vacuum. Leave, and they will build a version of you stronger than the one who stayed. The one who walks away becomes the reference point for all that follows. They compare every new leader to you, not because you were perfect, but because you left first, because you did not wait to be discarded. Men cling to proximity. They believe influence is born of constant presence. They think the longer they stay at the table, the more indispensable they become. But power does not reward loyalty without leverage. Stay too long and you become furniture, noticed only when removed, but leave strategically, and every empty chair becomes a throne in waiting. Every unreturned call, a whispered reminder of your influence. Power is not loud. It is not frantic. It is cold, patient, and self-assured. It is the ability to walk away, not in defeat, but in mastery. To lead is to manipulate time, not in the hours kept, but in the narrative told. When you control, when you enter, and more importantly, when you leave, you control the arc of perception. The mediocre leader reacts. The true ruler writes the tempo. He determines the season of action, the timing of betrayal, the hour of return. A late move, even if wise, becomes regret. A timely departure, even if confusing, becomes legend. The one who governs time governs loyalty, because men tie their allegiance to the rhythm of power, not its ethics. Never be afraid to disappoint expectations. The ruler who pleases all dies at the mercy of all. If they know what you will do next, you are already dead. Predictability breeds contempt. Surprise sharpens loyalty even when it wounds. The trusted leader is followed. The unpredictable one is feared, and fear, when cleanly administered, is remembered. A crown may be made of gold, but it is fastened by tension. Lose that tension, and you are not a sovereign. You are a servant in ceremonial dress. People say they want transparency, but they worship mystery. What they call honesty is often an excuse to demand intimacy with power they cannot understand. Do not indulge it. Preserve your distance. The closer they get to your decisions, the more they will question your right to make them. Keep your motives layered. Let them see reflections, not substance. The more they guess, the more they follow. Authority is not in explaining yourself. It is in remaining above the need to explain. A ruler reveals only what strengthens obedience, never what invites debate. Weakness is not in being hated. It is in being predictable. Even betrayal is more useful than adoration if it teaches a lesson. The betrayal you allow to pass silently becomes your sentence. The betrayal you punish becomes your precedent, and precedent is the muscle memory of power. Never mistake mercy for justice, and never offer it without calculating its cost. Justice without force is noise. Mercy without fear is surrender. There are no innocent judgments in leadership, only consequences you are or aren't prepared to endure. To hold power is to see the world not as it should be, but as it is. This clarity is not cynicism, it is responsibility. The people want illusions, but they require order. Give them both. Rule through structure, not sentiment. Through ritual, not spontaneity. Through fear dressed in ritual and ambition disguised as stability. The greatest tyranny is the one cloaked in predictability, where obedience becomes comfort. This is not cruelty, it is engineering. Every system that survives has learned how to package fear as necessity. You must never fight every battle. A ruler who answers every insult lowers himself to the level of the mob. Do not respond. Do not explain. Let your absence do the speaking. Let your silence harden into gravity. The people forget gestures, but they do not forget who kept them waiting or who made them doubt. And doubt, once planted, never dies. It calcifies. It reshapes allegiances. It replaces faith with fear, and fear with obedience. Those who seek to control others must first control their own desire to be understood. You are not owed recognition. You are owed obedience, and only if you make it unavoidable. People do not rally to reason. They rally to the appearance of destiny, become inevitable, not likable, not relatable, inevitable. Do this, and they will follow, even if they hate you, especially if they hate you. Because the deepest form of fear is admiration denied. It is respect forced through clenched teeth. Exile teaches what the court never will. That power is not held in the palace, but in the perception of inevitability. That reputation outlasts position. That leaving first is not falling, it is ascending beyond the petty rituals of visibility. Power is not in the throne, it is in the silence left when the throne is empty. The crowd will always choose spectacle over substance, so leave them spectacle your absence, and let them rewrite you as myth. They will ask why you left. Let them. That question becomes your monument. It haunts every successor. It mocks every pretender. Let them wonder whether you were defeated or merely done playing. The ambiguity is your legacy, because a clean story ends, but a question lives. And in politics, the one who lives in doubt lives forever. When the ruler walks away first, he chooses not just his moment, but his myth. He ensures he will not be buried, but echoed. Let them hold the palace. You will hold the silence that defines it. Let them govern the moment. You will own the memory. Let them win the applause. You will claim the shadow. And in the shadow, there is no opposition, only awe. Every state is built upon a crime, remembered or forgotten. Power does not originate in consent. It is merely sustained by it, and only when necessary. At its root, the order of things is carved by force, veiled by ritual, and softened by time. The modern ruler must understand this. Legitimacy is a performance, not a foundation. It must be staged repeatedly, with symbols that demand loyalty and actions that provoke fear. Institutions exist not to restrain power, but to mask it, to soften its edges, while preserving its dominance. The one who walks away first understands that when the stage begins to crack, the role must end. Better to exit in strength than to stay until the scaffolding collapses. Men are not drawn to virtue. They are drawn to what they perceive as strength. even when that strength is cruel or unjust or silent. The idealist thinks justice persuades. The realist knows that security controls. In times of uncertainty, the hand that enforces order becomes godlike, even if that order is built on deceit. People do not ask who lies, they ask who protects. And in that trade illusion for peace, the ruler finds his bargain. A necessary falsehood is more politically fertile than a futile truth. If your truth cannot command, it is not truth, it is noise. There will always be those who mistake sincerity for power, who believe that being right is the same as being obeyed. Let them speak. Let them publish their manifestos and chant their slogans. They mistake volume for influence, but power does not reside in the square. It resides in the architecture of silence, in the control of outcomes, not opinions. The crowd screams today, but it forgets tomorrow. The ruler must endure the noise and alter the terrain beneath it. The only protests that matter are the ones that shift the soil, and those are rarely loud. Never give your enemy the satisfaction of clarity. Let them stab at shadows. Let them waste their energy guessing your intentions while you sharpen your timing. Confusion is not weakness, it is an instrument. Doubt fractures alliances faster than confrontation. Uncertainty weakens resolve. A ruler who is clear becomes predictable. A ruler who is opaque becomes feared. There is no loyalty like the loyalty born of unease of people afraid to lose what they don't fully understand. A throne does not demand compassion, it demands results. The ruler must cultivate the patience to watch men decay, the strength to discard them when they no longer serve, and the coldness to never flinch. Empathy is a luxury of those who do not command. You may feel it privately, but never allow it to shape decisions. Power is not personal, it is systemic. The system does not bleed when a man falls. And neither should you. To survive is not enough. To endure is not the end. The true ruler shapes history, not merely his reign. He governs not only the territory, but the narrative. Even in exile, even in absence, the story must orbit you. This is why the first to walk away often returns as prophecy. While others fight to be seen, he fights to be remembered. The field is full of players, but history remembers only the architect, the one who constructed the rules, then stepped away before the collapse, the one who vanished while his shadow governed. You must never wait to be asked to leave. That is the death of authority. The moment they wonder whether you belong is the moment you've already lost control. You must leave while the room still echoes with your presence, not your absence. Let them miss you, not replace you. Let them struggle to replicate your methods while pretending to improve them. Let their failure affirm your precision. Let their chaos become your echo. In every man who leads, there is a temptation to be understood, to be vindicated by posterity. Resist it. Let others write books. You will write outcomes. Let others explain. You will act. The ruler is not a philosopher. He is the blade that cuts through delusion. His thinking must serve action, and his silence must shape fear. Posterity will always revise the past. Let them rewrite you. But leave them no doubt you were necessary. Power never disappears. It relocates. It morphs. It is not lost when you leave. It is redistributed, often poorly, often violently. But the one who walks away leaves not a void, but a map. And that map is marked with his rules, his memory, his consequences. The new rulers must navigate by your absences. They must answer to your example even as they try to erase it. You are not gone. You are foundational. Even the most brutal ruler must disguise his calculations. The people tolerate cruelty if it is disciplined. What they fear is randomness, chaos. A cruelty without direction is soon met with revolt. But cruelty that ensures order, that is remembered as firmness, as clarity. Mercy is only admired when it costs the ruler nothing. But mercy that weakens the spine of command becomes treason against the state. Learn to distinguish between the two, and never confuse pity for strength. The laws are not sacred. They are tools. They exist to serve the architecture of authority, not the ideals of the governed. To treat them as holy is to become their servant. Change them when they become brittle. Ignore them when they become inconvenient. Bend them when they block your vision. A ruler is not bound by the words of dead men. He is bound only by results. You must never show uncertainty. Doubt, once seen, becomes infection, even if you feel it, and you will bury it. Doubt belongs in your private hours, not in the theater of power. The people do not forgive hesitation. They prefer a wrong decision made with confidence to a correct one made with fear. The mask must never crack. Authority is not a reflection of truth, it is a performance of command. When the prince walks away, he leaves not to escape pressure, but to increase it. He understands the mind of the governed. They desire what they cannot possess. They idealize what they cannot grasp. And they follow those who withhold what they crave. Visibility is not always strength. Sometimes, the greatest power is to become a question that haunts the system long after your feet have left its floor. The first to walk away becomes the author of everyone else's ending. And endings, not speeches, rule the world. The ruler who understands the ending understands everything, for it is not beginnings that shape allegiance, but how the story concludes. The masses do not recall the initial promise, they remember who held the sword last, who left with dignity, who disappeared before being unmasked. To walk away first is to ensure that your story is told in echoes, not corrections. It is to leave with the power to be interpreted rather than defined. Others will scramble to fill your void. Let them. Their desperation validates your absence. Their noise confirms your silence was strategy. There is a cruelty to leadership that the weak cannot stomach. You must often allow failure to bloom just to prove your necessity. You must let chaos ripen until your return seems not only welcome, but begged for. This is not vanity, it is governance through narrative. When you walk away, you are not leaving. You are preparing the terrain for your legend to ferment. And only legends can govern the present without occupying it. While others raise banners, you become myth. While others chase power, you become the compass by which it is pursued. Do not seek to be liked. That is the hunger of the ruled. You are not in this world to please. You are in it to shape. And shaping often means wounding. It means saying no when yes is easier. It means breaking allegiances that have grown too comfortable. It means abandoning peace when war is the only solvent strong enough to cleanse the rot. There is no enduring power without discomfort. Comfort belongs to the follower. The ruler must stand where the cold wind of isolation cuts cleanest and remain unmoved. Even those closest to you, especially those closest to you, will betray you when their security outweighs their fear. Never forget this. Trust is not a virtue in politics. It is a weakness tolerated until it becomes inconvenient. The wise ruler does not trust. He calculates the timeline of loyalty. He rewards it when useful, eliminates it when expired. The face that smiles at your side is only as loyal as the structure that punishes disloyalty. Without consequence, fidelity is decoration. To endure as a ruler, you must master the slow art of disappearance. Not embody in certainty. Let your followers think they know you, then shatter that illusion. Let your allies believe they understand your methods, then shift them. Certainty breeds complacency. Mystery breeds obedience. A prince fully known is a prince soon overthrown. Let them chase your image. Let them define you so they can destroy you and then change. Become something else. Power survives through reinvention. It dies in identity. The strong man does not force his presence, he forces its absence. To walk away is to signal that you do not depend on the throne, the court, the applause. It is to say, silently but with finality, I am the source, not the beneficiary, and once you are the source, they cannot replace you, only mimic you, poorly. They may wear your clothes, speak your words, even occupy your chair. But the room knows. The system remembers. The people sense the difference between the architect and the caretaker. Every system of power is built on a delicate balance between fear and hope. Tilt too far toward hope, and the people dream of a world without you. Tilt too far toward fear, and they dream of a world after you. But stand precisely between them. Let them believe in your strength while fearing your absence, and they will not dream at all. They will obey. To rule is to paralyze alternatives. To make your departure unthinkable, even as you prepare it. To control perception is to command without touching. It is the most elegant form of dominion. The fool shouts, the ruler whispers and is heard. The coward reacts, the sovereign prepares. Let your movements appear spontaneous, but plan them with mathematical cruelty. Surprise is not the enemy of order, it is its highest refinement. Appear weak when you are strongest. Appear disinterested when you are most calculating. Let them misread you. Misinterpretation is a form of obedience when curated properly. And when you finally return, because return is inevitable for the one who walked away first, do so with indifference, not triumph. Do not seek applause. Let them offer it unasked. Let your name grow heavy in their mouths before you ever speak again. A ruler's power increases not when he is present, but when his return is felt as necessity. The ones who remain try to manage the decline. The one who left first becomes the benchmark against which all decline is measured. Do not apologize for what you left behind. The world does not reward guilt, it consumes it. The people want rulers who know what they are. Be that. Do not seek to be justified. Justify through results. Through silence, through memory. The prince who walks away first never leaves without preparing the terrain behind him to need his name again. And when it is spoken, let it be with equal parts dread and desire. Power is not about staying. It is about choosing when to go, and ensuring that when you do, the room follows you with its eyes. Not because you are good, not because you are right, but because in your absence, nothing moves with certainty. That is real authority, not noise, not permanence, influence drawn from the gravity of a calculated disappearance, and the understanding that he who walks away first never truly leaves. He rules from the void. And so, walk away. Not in anger, not in sorrow. Walk away with clarity, the clarity that power is not held in the hand, but in the consequences left behind. The ruler who stays too long becomes a statue, eventually ignored, weathered by time and resentment. But the one who leaves at the height of command becomes an absence that governs in silence. Not a ghost, but a gravitational force, unseeable, undeniable. Let them write their reports. Let them declare new orders, new visions, new truths. They will stamp their names on decrees drafted in your shadow. They will pretend to begin, but their first breath will still carry your echo. They will use your language, your symbols, your cadence, and call it progress. But progress walks in the footsteps you marked and denies the path it cannot escape. The ultimate mastery is not in remaining. It is in teaching the world to function in your image, long after you have disappeared. You do not need to hold the scepter to be obeyed. You do not need to wear the crown to be feared. Let others inherit the stage. Let them taste the weight of command. You will inhabit something rarer, inevitability. You will become the measure by which all who follow are found wanting. So walk away first. Leave the room while they still wonder what you are thinking. Depart while their loyalty is still cautious, still sharp. Let them learn what you were by discovering what they are not. Let them name you not in the past tense, but as a warning, a standard, a presence that never required presence. That is the final truth of rule. The one who walks away first never truly leaves. He simply teaches the world to follow.